The blue light of the alien ship cast strange shadows across the walls of the small apartment. Lisa Taylor called home. She had been living there for 3 years now, ever since she graduated college with her degree in xenolinguistics, a field that had exploded in popularity after first contact. Lisa sat on her couch sipping tea and watching the news when her doorbell rang. She wasn't expecting anyone this late at night. Cautiously, she approached the door and looked through the peephole. What she saw made her gasp. Standing in the hallway was a woman, but not a human woman. This woman had pale lavender skin and eyes that seemed to shift colors like an opal. Her hair, if you could call it that, looked like strands of silver wire that moved. On their own, as if caught in a gentle breeze, she wore what looked like a jumpsuit made of a material Lisa had never seen before. Lisa opened the door. The alien woman spoke in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. "My name is Nari. I have traveled very far to find you." Lisa invited her inside, aware that her neighbors might not react well to seeing an extraterrestrial in their building. Once the door was closed, Lisa asked, "Why are you here? How do you know who I am?" Nari moved across the room, with unusual grace, almost as if she was floating rather than walking. Her silver hair, tendrils curled and uncurled with what seemed like nervous energy. "I know who you are because you are special among your kind. You have a gift that few possess." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean, a gift?" Nari reached into a pocket on her jumpsuit and pulled out a small crystal that glowed with an internal light. "When humans first made contact with my people, the Elunari, we shared technology, but kept much of our culture private. We feared that humans would not understand our way." Lisa nodded, encouraging Nari to continue. "But you are different," Nari said. The crystal in her hand pulsed brighter as she held it toward Lisa. "Your mind has patterns. We have only seen in our own species you can understand things that other humans cannot." Lisa remembered the ease with which she'd picked up alien languages in college. How she'd always seemed to intuitively understand concepts that her classmates struggled with. She'd always attributed it to hard work and natural talent. "You are what we call a bridge soul," Nari explained, "someone whose mind can connect with other species in a way that transcends biological differences. There are only 3 others, like you on your planet." Lisa sat down, feeling overwhelmed. "Why are you telling me this now?" Nara's color shifted slightly, becoming a deeper purple. Her expression, one of distress. "My people are facing extinction. A disease has spread through our population. We are losing our ability to connect with each other. Our collective consciousness is fragmenting without it. We cannot survive." The revelation shocked Lisa. She had studied the Elunari, but this information had never been shared with humans. "What can I do about that?" Nari knelt before Lisa. "Our scientists believe that a bridge soul could help reconnect our fractured consciousness, provide a template for healing. But it would require you to leave Earth. Come with me to our homeworld." Lisa stared at the alien woman before her. The implications were enormous, leaving behind everyone and everything she knew to help save an alien species. She barely understood. It seemed impossible, and yet something deep within her responded to Nari's plea. "How long would I be gone?" Lisa asked. Nari looked down the journey. "Takes 3 of your Earth months, but the healing process, if it works, might take years, or you might need to stay forever. We cannot be certain." Lisa walked to her window, looking out at the city. Lights below her life had been ordinary until now. A job teaching at the university, a small circle of friends, a cat named Cosmic that her neighbor cared for when she worked late. Nothing that truly tied her to this place. And yet it was her home. "What if I can help you? What if this bridge soul thing isn't what you think?" Nari approached, standing beside Lisa to look out at the city. "We have studied you for months, we are certain. But if we are wrong, we will return you to Earth. The choice must be yours, freely given." Lisa turned to look at the alien woman more closely, noticing details she hadn't before: the subtle patterns on her skin, the way her eyes seemed to contain galaxies, the gentle hum that seemed to emanate from her body. "When would we leave?" Lisa asked, surprised by her own question. Nari said, "There is a ship waiting." "My people do not have much time." Lisa thought about her life, about the monotony of her days, about the longing she'd always felt to do something meaningful, something bigger than herself. She'd studied alien languages because she'd wanted to bridge worlds, and now she was being asked to do exactly that, in a way she could never have imagined. "What would I need to bring?" Nari smiled, a strange expression on her alien face. Nothing, our ship can provide everything you need. This is not a journey about possessions. It is about what you carry within you. Lisa took a deep breath. Okay, I need to write some notes for people, let them know I'm going away for a while. While Lisa wrote messages to her boss, her parents, and her friends, Nari waited patiently by the window. When Lisa finished, she picked up her coat out of habit more than necessity. I'm ready, Lisa said, though she wasn't sure if anyone could truly be ready for what lay ahead. Nari held out her hand, palm up, revealing intricate patterns etched into her lavender skin. Where we go, we will learn much from each other. My people believe that knowledge shared is the greatest gift one being can give another. Lisa placed her hand in Nara's, feeling a slight tingling sensation where their skin touched together. They walked out of the apartment, Lisa locking the door behind her for what might be the last time. As they stepped outside the building, the night air felt electric. Lisa looked up and gasped in the sky above her. Apartment was a ship unlike any she'd ever seen in photos or videos, it seemed, to be made of light itself, shifting and changing like a living thing. Is that yours? Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Nari nodded. It is one of our smaller vessels designed for discreet retrieval missions. A beam of soft blue light enveloped them, and Lisa felt her feet leave the ground as they were drawn upward into the ship. She had a moment of panic, but Nari's hand in hers provided strange comfort. The inside of the ship was both alien and somehow familiar, curved walls that seemed to pulse with life, control panels that looked more like art installations than technology, and other Elunari moving about with the same floating grace. As Lisa was brought to a room with a window looking out at Earth, the blue planet growing smaller as the ship accelerated away from it. Tears filled her eyes, not from sadness but from the overwhelming beauty of seeing her home from this perspective. Nari stood beside her. You are brave. Lisa Taylor. Braver than most of your kind would. Belisa wiped her eyes and turned to the alien woman. Am I really going to help save your species? Nari touched the crystal she still carried, which glowed brighter in Lisa's presence. You already have begun the process by agreeing to come with us. Hope has returned to my people for the first time in many cycles. As the ship moved further from Earth, accelerating toward the stars, Lisa felt a strange peace settle over her. She had always felt like she didn't quite belong, like there was something more, waiting for her somewhere else. Perhaps this was what she'd been waiting for all along. The stars blurred outside the window as the ship entered faster than light travel. The human concept of time seemed to shift during their journey. Lisa was given her own quarters, a room that seemed to adapt to her needs, changing subtly to make her more comfortable. Each day Nari would visit, teaching Lisa about Elunari culture, their history, their biology, their art. Lisa learned that the Elunari had been a spacefaring civilization for thousands of years, longer than humans had been building cities. They had visited hundreds of worlds, but had rarely found species they could truly communicate with. One day during their journey, Lisa asked Nari a question that had been bothering her. Why me? There are billions of humans on Earth. How did you find me? Specifically, Nari gestured to the crystal which she now wore on a chain around her neck. This is not just a pretty stone. It is what we call a soul seeker. It resonates with bridge souls no matter how far away they are. It led us to Earth, and then it led me to you. But why now? Lisa pressed. Your people could have come looking for bridge souls years ago when we first made contact. Nari seemed to dim slightly, her lavender skin taking on a grayish tinge. We did not know we would need you. Then the disease only began spreading to Earth years ago. At first we thought we could cure it ourselves, but it attacks the very thing that makes us Elunari, our connection to each other. And when did you realize that humans might help? When one of our scientists discovered that human bridge souls have neural patterns similar to our own collective consciousness structures. We had been studying humans since first contact, but had not looked for this specific trait. Lisa thought about this. So there are 3 other humans like me. What happens to them? Nari looked away briefly. Our ships are retrieving them as well if they consent. A chill ran through Lisa. What if they don't consent? Nari turned back to face her. Then we leave them be. As I said, the choice must be freely given, or the connection will not work. The ship continued its journey through space. Sometimes Lisa would sit for hours watching the stars stream by. Sometimes she would study with Nari, learning the Elunari language, which was not just spoken but involved subtle shifts in skin color and movement of the hair tendrils. Lisa also noticed that the longer she spent with the Elunari, the more she could sense a faint hum at the edge of her consciousness sometimes when she was near several of them at once. It almost felt like she could hear thoughts, not words exactly, but emotions, intentions. It was both fascinating and unsettling. The days that followed were intense. Lisa underwent more evaluations, each one delving deeper into her mind, each one revealing more about the unique nature of her consciousness. The Elunari scientists were fascinated by what they called her adaptive neural architecture, the ability of her brain to reshape itself to accommodate new patterns of thought. Lisa also learned more about the disease affecting the Elunari. It wasn't a physical ailment but something more fundamental, a degradation of the telepathic field that connected their species. It had begun in the outer colonies and spread inward. Those affected first became isolated, unable to sense the thoughts and emotions of others. Then they began to lose their sense of self, their memories, their identity. As bad as that sounds, Lisa said to Nari during one of their breaks from testing. It must be even worse for your people. Nari nodded, her silver hair, tendrils drooping slightly. Imagine if humans suddenly lost the ability to speak to, see each other, to touch now. Imagine that this ability had been central to your species for thousands of generations, that your entire society was built around it. Lisa tried to comprehend the horror of such an experience for a telepathic species. It would be like everyone on Earth going blind, deaf, and mute simultaneously. The disease has already claimed thousands, Nari continued, and we have no natural immunity. Our scientists believe it may be the result of contact with another species. One whose mental patterns are incompatible with our own. Perhaps even humans. Lisa felt a chill. What do you mean? Some Elunari believe that first contact with humans accelerated the disease that your individualistic consciousness somehow contaminated. Our collective one. Is that why some of your people look at me with fear? Lisa asked. She'd noticed the reaction from certain Elunari when she walked through the city. Nari sighed. Yes, there are those who believe bringing humans here will only make things worse, but the council disagrees. They believe that bridge souls like you are our salvation, not our doom. After 2 weeks of testing, the Elunari were ready to attempt the first real intervention. Lisa was brought to a sacred site, a natural amphitheater, carved into crystal cliffs overlooking one of the silver oceans there. A group of infected Elunari, those in the early stages of the disease, waited. Elder Sora explained the procedure. We will attempt to use your mind as a conduit to reconnect these individuals to our collective consciousness. If successful, we will expand the treatment to others. Lisa felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. What if it doesn't work? What if I make things worse? Elder Sora placed a hand on Lisa's arm. We have studied your mind extensively. We believe this will work, but if it does not, we will simply try another approach. The ritual began as the sun set, turning the silver ocean to gold. Lisa sat in the center of the amphitheater, surrounded by crystals, with the infected Elunari forming a circle around her. Elder Sora and the healing council formed an outer circle. The Elunari began to sing a haunting melody that seemed to make the very air vibrate. Lisa closed her eyes, trying to relax, trying to open her mind as they had taught her to do during the testing. The sensation began slowly, a gentle pressure at the base of her skull, then spreading upward, a tingling that reminded her of the feeling when a limb falls asleep and then begins to wake up, except this was happening in her brain. She could feel them, the minds of the Elunari around her. First Elder Sora and the council, their thoughts organized and directed. Then the infected ones, their minds chaotic, fragmented like puzzles, with missing pieces. Instinctively, Lisa reached out, not with her hands but with her consciousness, trying to bridge the gaps, trying to connect the fragments back into a whole. She could feel the strain, the effort draining her, but she pushed harder. Then something shifted. The fragments began to align. The chaos began to order itself. She could feel the minds of the infected Elunari stabilizing, connecting not just to each other but to the larger collective. Lisa opened her eyes. The crystals around her were glowing so brightly they looked like small suns. The Elunari were all staring at her, their opal eyes wide with wonder. Even those who had been infected seemed transformed. Their skin brighter, their posture straighter. It worked, Elder Sora whispered, her voice filled with awe and relief. It actually worked. Lisa felt exhausted, drained, but also exhilarated. They had done it. They had saved these Elunari from the disease, at least temporarily. Over the following months, the process was refined, made more efficient, less taxing on Lisa. The other bridge souls arrived from Earth, a woman named Alice from France, a man from Japan called Hideo, and a child barely 10 years old from Brazil named Sophia. Together they worked with the Elunari, developing new techniques, new technologies to combat the disease. A year passed on the Elunari homeworld. Lisa's hair had grown longer. Her skin had taken on a slight lavender tint from the planets. Different sunlight, she had become fluent in the Elunari language, both spoken and unspoken. She could now sense the edges of their collective consciousness even when not actively participating in healing rituals. She had grown close to Nari, their relationship deepening into something that had no easy definition in human terms, more than friendship, less than romance. A connection of minds that transcended physical attraction. One evening, as they sat watching the three moons rise over the silver ocean, Nari turned to Lisa. "I have something to tell you." Lisa looked at her friend, noting the unusual pattern of color, rippling across Nari's skin, a sign of emotional intensity. "What is it?" "The Council has made a discovery about the disease." Nari said, her voice solemn. "It was not caused by contact with humans, as some believed. It was engineered." Lisa frowned. "Engineered? By whom?" Nari sighed. "By a faction of our own people. A group that believes our collective consciousness has held us back, prevented us from evolving. They created the disease as a way to force change." Lisa felt cold despite the warm evening air. "That makes no sense. Why would they want to destroy the very thing that makes your species unique?" Nari looked out over the ocean. "We have been a collective consciousness for so long that we have forgotten how to be individuals. Some believe this has prevented us from developing certain technologies, certain ways of thinking. They look at humans and see a species that has accomplished much in a short time, despite lacking our advantages." Lisa thought about this. "That's why the bridge souls were so important to find. You needed humans who could teach your people how to be individuals while maintaining your connection." Nari nodded. "Exactly, and you have succeeded beyond our hopes. The new neural patterns you and the other bridge souls have helped create are resistant to the disease because they incorporate aspects of human individuality while maintaining our collective nature. It is evolution, not destruction." The revelation stunned Lisa. She had thought she was helping to restore the Elunari to what they had been before, but instead she had been helping them become something new, something neither fully Elunari nor fully human, but a blend of both. "How do your people feel about this change?" Lisa asked. "Some embrace it, others fear it." Nari admitted it is not easy to change the fundamental nature of a species, but the alternative is extinction. So even those who resist acknowledge the necessity. Lisa thought about Earth, about her small apartment, her job, her cat. She had been gone for over a year now. Sometimes she missed the simplicity of her old life, but she could not imagine returning to it permanently. Not after what she had experienced here. "Do you regret coming here?" Nari asked, sensing Lisa's thoughts. Lisa shook her head. "No, this is the most important thing I have ever done or will ever do. I just sometimes wonder what happens next when the disease is fully contained, when your people have adapted. Will there still be a place for me here?" Nari took Lisa's hand. "Our scientists believe that the connection between bridge souls and Elunari may be permanent, that your minds have been changed by the contact, just as ours have. You may never be fully human again, just as we will never be fully Elunari in the old." Since Lisa considered this, the thought should have frightened her, but instead it filled her with a strange peace. She had always felt different, always felt like she didn't quite belong among her own kind. Perhaps this was why. Perhaps she had always been meant to be a bridge between worlds. 3 more years passed. The disease was contained, then eliminated. The Elunari civilization transformed into something new, something stronger than before. Lisa and the other bridge souls were honored as saviors, their names recorded in the great crystal archives that held the history of the Elunari people. Lisa was given the choice to return to Earth if she wished, but the thought no longer appealed to her. This world had become her home. These people her family. She had changed too much to go back. One evening, 5 years after her arrival on the Elunari homeworld, Lisa stood on the balcony of her home, watching the silver ocean. The sky above filled with stars. She felt a presence behind her, and turned to see Nara. The council has a new proposal. Nari said, her eyes swirling with color. We wish to send ambassadors to Earth, not just diplomatic representatives, but teachers to find more bridge souls to create a true partnership between our species. The council wishes you to lead this mission. Lisa smiled. The thought of returning to Earth no longer filled her with conflict or doubt. She would go not as a returning exile, but as a bridge between worlds, helping both species grow and learn from each other. I would be honored, Lisa said. Nari took her hand together. Then we will build something new, something neither of our peoples could have imagined alone. As they stood there looking up at the stars, Lisa thought about the night Nari had first appeared at her door, how frightened she had been, how overwhelmed by the implications of being a bridge soul. She could never have imagined then where that moment would lead, what she would become, the human woman who had once been Lisa Taylor. Ordinary, teacher now stood transformed, illuminated by alien moonlight. Her mind expanded beyond human limits. Her heart connected to a vast network of consciousness that spanned an entire world. She had found her purpose not just to save one species, but to transform two, to create a future neither humans nor Elunari could have achieved alone. And it had all begun with a simple choice to open a door, to trust, to follow the call of destiny across the stars. After what felt like both an eternity and no time at all, Nari came to Lisa's quarters with excitement visible in her swirling opal eyes. We are approaching homeworld, she said. We will arrive in a few hours. Lisa had been waiting for this moment with a mix of anticipation and fear. She followed Nari to the main viewing area of the ship where other Elunari had gathered, all of them, turning to look at her with expressions of hope and curiosity. Through the massive viewing window, Lisa saw it for the first time, the Elunari homeworld. Unlike Earth, it wasn't blue, but a swirling mix of purple and silver. The continents themselves seemed to shimmer. The oceans looked like liquid metal. It was breathtakingly beautiful. This what you expected, Nari? Asked. Lisa shook her head. Nothing could have prepared me for this. It's incredible. The ship began its descent through the atmosphere. Lisa watched as they approached what appeared to be a city. But unlike any human city she had ever seen, there were no straight lines, no rigid structures. Instead, buildings curved and flowed like liquid rising from the ground, in elegant spirals and arches. The entire city seemed to be built from a material similar to the ship's hull, something between metal and living tissue. The ship landed in what Lisa assumed was a docking area. As they disembarked, she felt the gravity slightly lighter than Earth's, and the air, though breathable, had a sweet, unfamiliar scent. A group of Elunari was waiting for them, distinguished from the others by more elaborate clothing and intricate patterns on their skin. The leader stepped forward, a tall Elunari with skin so dark purple it was almost black. Welcome to Arathi, Lisa Taylor. I am Elder Sora, head of the Healing Council. We are grateful for your arrival. Liza bowed slightly, unsure of the proper protocol. I hope I can help. Elder Sora gestured to the others. We will begin the evaluation process tomorrow, after you have rested from your journey. Nari led Lisa to what would be her new home, a beautiful structure that seemed to grow out of a hill overlooking the city. The interior was sparse but elegant, with furniture that adapted to her body when she sat on it, and lighting that adjusted to her preferences without her having to ask. This is all for me? Lisa asked, amazed. Nari nodded. You are an honored guest, the first human to ever set foot on our world. The others have not yet arrived. Lisa walked to the window, taking in the alien landscape, the silver trees with their spiral branches, the strange animals that looked like a cross between deer and cats moving through the underbrush. How long until we know if I can help your people? Nari placed a hand on Lisa's shoulder. The evaluation begins tomorrow, but the full process may take time. I will come for you in the morning. You should rest now. The journey has been long. After Nari left, Lisa lay on the bed, which conformed perfectly to her body. She stared up at the ceiling, which appeared to show the night sky, but not as it would look from Earth. These were alien constellations, stars she had never seen before. Sleep came surprisingly easily, and her dreams were filled with silver light and whispering voices speaking in a language she almost understood. When She woke, the light filtering through the windows had a lavender tint. Nari was already there waiting with what appeared to be breakfast foods carefully selected to approximate Earth cuisine. "Today will be challenging," Nari said as Lisa ate. "Are you?" Prepared, Lisa nodded. "I've come this far, I want to help." They traveled to a large structure in the center of the city, a dome that seemed to ripple with energy. Inside was a vast open space with what looked like medical equipment arranged in a circle. Elder Sora was there along with several other Elunari, wearing the same formal attire. Lisa was asked to sit in the center of the circle as the Elunari explained the process. "We will attempt to establish a connection with your mind." Elder Sora said, "It may feel strange, but it should not be painful if you experience any distress. Please tell us immediately." Lisa nodded, her heart racing with nervous anticipation. The Elunari took positions around her, each holding a crystal similar to Nari's, but larger. They began to hum a sound that seemed to resonate in Lisa's bones rather than her ears. The crystals began to glow brighter and brighter until Lisa had to close her eyes against the light. And then she felt it, a presence in her mind, gentle, but alien, touching her thoughts with careful exploration. It felt like standing at the edge of an ocean and feeling the waves lap against her feet. Except the ocean was made of consciousness rather than water. She could sense their surprise, their excitement as they discovered something within her mind that they had not expected. Lisa opened her eyes to find the Elunari staring at her with what could only be described as awe. Elder Sora stepped forward. "You are more than we hoped, Lisa Taylor. Your mind contains patterns we have not seen in millennia. Not since the time of the ancient ones," Lisa swallowed. "What does that mean?" "It means," Nari said, coming to stand beside her, "that you may not only be able to help us reconnect our fractured consciousness, but you may help us evolve it to something new, something stronger."